Hello everybody and happy almost holidays. It is Monday the 21st of December 2015. I'm Doc Eon and we're looking at the latest of my Christmas themed Reaper miniatures, the 2008 Christmas Sophie special. Turned out a bit darker than I was planning, especially in the skin tones, but well, I wanted to experiment with a darker skin tone and a lighter color for the wings on this one. Overall, I have to say, in hindsight, I think it was a mistake to assemble the miniature before painting, because a lot of areas were very difficult to get to, and I think they're a bit unclear because of that. Lesson learned. Oops. Next time I have a complex figure like this one, I'm going to paint it in sections. Anywho, next thing to show is the two old giants that I rebased. I made a rocky snow basis with some scraggly tufts of grass, and see if this is in focus, sort of. I actually think after I'd rebased them, I gave everything a fresh coat of spray varnish, and I actually think that freshened up the look of these old minis and made them, you know, look a bit, you know, almost new again. So they, again, I think maybe the bases were a bit big. Doing 50mm bases for these could have been a mistake. They would have fit on 40mm, but they're supposed to be giants after all, not just ogres or something. So, well. Next we have some smaller minis. Oops. We can show you these two. A sort of a fighter and a thief from Reaper miniatures that I painted up with snow basis, again with the intent of perhaps using them in Frostgrave, but we will see. This little hooked terror monster, I did not give a snow base because there are no such creatures on the monster tables in Frostgrave, so I just painted it up like any kind of monster. And then we have the two lady fighters from Black Hat Miniatures, the ones where I had some problems with the sculpt of especially this one. Now, one is fully dressed, but the other one is perhaps a bit chilly for a wintry climate. Well, you live and you learn. Moving on, we have the Malifaux miniatures, and I finished the Marcus avatar here. When I was nearing completion, I just couldn't get any inspiration for any bright colors. So he is kind of drab. It's all kind of gray and brown and bone. And so I decided to balance the final composition, I added a lot of bright flowers to the base, just to lighten the whole thing up. And I mean, I think it's my color choices aren't that bad, considering if you look at the artwork on, I mean, this is very monochrome. It's just sort of brown and purple, nothing else. And I think mine looks better for the tabletop, at least. Now, I have seen miniatures painted for display and for competitions in a kind of monochrome or a very limited color palette, and it looks really good. But I don't think that works as well for gaming. for gaming purposes, you want something that pops on the tabletop, something bright and high contrast and colorful. Anyway, he's alright. Now I have an avatar, and which can be used as a proxy for the emissary until that model comes out. Next up, still Malifaux, we have the Doppelganger. Now, let's see if I can hold it still and in focus. She actually came out a bit darker compared to the box art. The box art is very pale and has a lighter red hair and a white sheet instead of a light blue. But in this case, I thought the very pale colors would look washed out on the tabletop. I wanted strong colors, and especially sorry, here on the back with the flayed skin and the blood. And she's on a she's on a Bayou base because my first Neverborn master is Zoraida. And the final Malifaux model that I finished is McTavish. Also on a Bayou base, of course, with his little pet crocodile. He's standing pretty far back. It's not a centered composition, but it wasn't really possible to do, I think. And in this case, I'm pretty darn close to this image. Mine is a bit brighter, especially the crocodile is a brighter green instead of the olive green that this one is. But I think I followed it pretty well, and I'm happy with it. And I mean, okay, their version is standing more on the planking here, but I found it difficult to pose that way and get some sort of balance to it. So he's like this, but you know, it's a very solid chunk of metal, so it's not unbalanced. I mean, the base insert has more metal in it than the actual figures, so there's no risk of it becoming unbalanced. And that was all the finished stuff this week. So the only thing that's been sitting on my desk for a really long time now is Blaine here. He's the never-ending story. Oh well. Maybe this week. Over here we have the two Malifaux miniatures I started prep last week. They have now been assembled and given a base coat. At least I'm going for a sort of a white tiger look on the Sabertooth and a traditional sort of greenish snake for the Rattler. And behind them here we have the next Sophie. I like this sculpt possibly the best of all the ones I've done so far. This is the 2009. This is the most easily painted. It's very open, it's very accessible to the brush, and it's well sculpted. You can clearly see where what's what on her. So yeah, I assembled her completely because the wings are standing out from the body and they're not in the way in any way. However, here we have a sort of random miniature I've decided to finish. It's a West Wind miniature called Styx, the Maiden of Tears. From some, they have some sort of game which is all angels versus demons called Lucifer's War. But I just have this one mini. She has wings, and she has these huge things. I think they're that way actually, like that. But I haven't attached those because they would make painting the whole back of her extremely difficult. So this one I'm actually doing separately. And behind here we have a collection of various stuff. This here is a Reaper miniature named Gwendolyn the Healer. I'm thinking she would be a good apothecary for Frostgrave because she doesn't have any obvious weapons. She's sensibly dressed for the cold. She's got a staff and a bag over her shoulder, like she's collecting herbs or something. This girl is not dressed for the cold with that cleavage. This is the female druid from Black Hat Miniatures. I like this sculpt a lot better than the previous two Black Hat miniatures I painted. So yeah, I feel more inspired with her, but this is going to be more of a summer figure with a bouquet of flowers and everything. I'm not gonna paint her up with. There won't be any snow on this base. Let me put it that way. Finally, we have this group of the 3-pack of female thieves from Fenrir. I like the sculpts, not a fan of the casting. There was a ton of flashing, lots and lots and lots of mold lines. I mean, I had to shave half of their legs off if they look a bit skinny. That's because the mold lines were a bear to get off. And the weapons, gluing the swords on was not easy. On this one, the hilt snapped. The grip here is one that I've sculpted on. It's not the original one. It broke off, and of course you couldn't glue it back on. It was a small one like this one here. The blades are glued on. In hindsight, I'm not sure. The tip of this spear or halberd or whatever was separate for whatever reason, and I thought it would look cool gluing it on, painting forward. But the more natural thing would possibly be to have it in the direction of her arm. That would have been the more common way to do it. But oh well. It's not. It doesn't look horribly misplaced. Yeah, that's what's on the table right now. Since I'm going to do a lot of these papercraft wall sections, I thought I might show you how I modify them. What you're looking at right now is a printout of, you know, what they look like straight from the printer. These are from David Graffam, and you can see they have these narrow slits where they're supposed to fit together. These sections slide into these from the bottom up. And the black line here is where you're supposed to fold the paper. You just cut out the outline, cut here, fold, and you get these really thin walls. But I want to make them thicker and glue them onto the foam board. So here's an example of what I've done. For that, I've simply widened these slits in the middle to 5 millimeters or so. And what I will do then is just cut around the outline as usual, but I will cut them apart at this black line, glue one side onto foam board, let it dry, cut along the outline through the foam board, flip it over, apply glue, stick the other side on, and hey presto, we're done. And of course, to cut these out, I use a knife like this and a steel ruler like this one. Simple. Next episode, I will probably show you a lot of finished walls. So the upcoming week is the Christmas holiday, and I honestly don't think I'm gonna finish everything I've showed you this episode until next week, until next Monday, because for the major part of those 7 days, I will not be at home. I will be traveling and visiting family. there's only going to be a couple of days of actual painting. I will be getting back home in time to film and upload an update on next Monday. But the question is how much I will get done until then. So I'm not going to be prepping a whole lot of new stuff apart from what I've already shown you. What I'm thinking about is because I think I will finish those Malifaux models rather quickly, and I need something new from Malifaux on my table. I've been going through my collection and picking out some more unusual models that you don't see a lot of. First off, two of the effigies, which are, I don't know how to describe them. They're sort of mascots from another dimension for the factions. We have the Arcane effigy, which is for the Arcanist faction, of course. We have the Mysterious effigy, which is for the Neverborn. These are the two factions I play so far. And I'm thinking of doing Primordial Magic, which is the general totem that can be used by any master for the Neverborn. We'll see if they get prepped until next week. But all this time spent on the road and visiting family will not be wasted, because I will be bringing a book to read. Specifically, this book. This is Playing at the World by John Peterson. It is a hefty tome of more than 600 pages. I mean, it's almost, including the index, almost 700 pages. I don't know if I can get through this in a week, but I will do my very best. And yeah, we'll see if there's you see, it's not a lot of pictures, it's just heavy text. Well, hopefully I'll finish it and there'll be a review here on the channel. But that is what I had to inform you of this week. So until next time, this is Doc Eon wishing you a very Merry Christmas.